Well, some people have already been doing that, and here are some of the pictures that you've sent in to us on our portal. Let's just wait for them. Well, the first one is from the nation's capital, Abuja, and it shows the distribution of relief materials to the internally displaced persons at Gongola settlement of Kuchi Goro Jabi, Abuja. And the next picture shows Osun State workers protesting on Oshogbo-Ogbomoso Road. Our eyewitness reporter says the workers are demanding payment of their salaries. Finally, we have this one from Imo State, and this is a picture of a bad road in Ikedru local government area. Our eyewitness reporter says it's been abandoned by the contractors. Well, thanks a lot for sending in your pictures, and just to remind you again that you too can report happenings around you on our platform. The House of Representatives has adopted the Conference Committee report on a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2010, giving the Independent National Electoral Commission more powers to request for the deployment of security personnel for the election. Now, the report, which was presented by the chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, Jerry Mangwe, has 28 proposed amendments that are to ensure a level playing field for all participants in the electoral process. One of the amendments includes a new section 29(1)(b), which states, quote, "Notwithstanding the provisions of any other law and for purposes of securing the vote, the Commission shall be responsible for requesting for the deployment of relevant security personnel necessary for the elections or registration of voters and shall assign them in the manner determined by the Commission in consultation with the relevant security agencies." End of quote. Well, the leader of the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, MASOB, Chief Ralph Wazirike, has called for the removal of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Atahiru Jega, over strong allegations of partisanship. Addressing newsmen in Owerri, the Imo State capital, southeast Nigeria, the leader of MASOB enumerated various reasons why Professor Jega should not go on to conduct the forthcoming general elections. Well, we move on now. We strongly resist any attempt to stop the use of card readers, and that's the stern warning coming from the leadership of the youth arm of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The group today at a press conference in Abuja, the nation's capital, says the card readers will help sanitize the nation's electoral process, and any effort to stop its use is a clear attempt to rig the polls. The group also alleged that the PDP is the main party that's opposing the use of the card readers.
The measure that Jega had put in place will go a long way in making the process of our election a bit free and fair. And to all well-meaning Nigeria, it should be a welcome development. But as we can witness today, PDP had been the main opposition to this process. And that is the only process that can throw up the leader, the kind of leader that Nigerians are craving for. So we are in support of the process, and any move, as rightly pointed out by the leader, any move to remove Jega or any move they make not to allow the process of using the card reader and PVC will be opposed by Nigerian youth. We will not allow it, because for once we want to start a process that will throw up a leader that Nigeria can call their own.
Well, it does appear that the debate whether or not to use the card readers for the forthcoming elections is far from over, as some groups of people are still opposing the idea. The People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Organization and some political parties have rejected its use during the forthcoming elections. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the spokesman for the campaign organization, Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode, says the ruling party will resist moves to go ahead with the use of the card readers during the elections. And at a separate news conference, representatives of some political parties also expressed their opposition to the use of the card readers for the elections because, according to them, they have not been tested and therefore cannot be trusted.
The PDP is not against the card readers. The PDP believe that INEC should test it and it should be in perfect condition so that we don't run into problems. That's what we have done. We urge INEC to test them so that on that day, on the 28th, it will be ready in a perfect condition so that we don't have a problem of where in some areas it will be working and in some areas it will not be working. I mean, these are human feelings across not only PDP but across this country that since it's the first time we are going to adopt this technology, it should be in a perfect condition so that people will not have reason to complain. PDP is leading, PDP is solidly on the ground in 9,572 wards across this nation. I have to release these statistics to you to give you the reason why we are saying that this election, we will win this election comfortably against the propaganda of APC.
All right, let's just take another look at what the leader of the movement for the emancipation of the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, Masop, was saying there. Chief Ralph Wazirike was calling for the removal of the INEC chairman. Let's just listen to him.
The forum also exhibited evidences of minutes of meetings by Jega and members of Northern Elders Forum. Till date, Jega is yet to refute the allegations. The allegation making rounds that Jega met with governors of one of the parties in Dubai is also yet to be denied by him. It is amazing that one of the political parties is strongly opposed to the removal of Jega. It is also amazing that Jega refused to step aside even where there are evidences pointing to his bias. What is disturbing is indeed the catastrophe his agenda may provoke. This catastrophe could be avoided inasmuch as many believe that Jega has compromised. The only option left for him is to quit. He is not the only person that can conduct elections in Nigeria. Any national commissioner of INEC could do so. It is on record that both Mr. Gopadia and Professor Morrissey, who left INEC 3 months to their retirement as INEC chairman. But in the case of Jega, the reverse is becoming the case. Those who will benefit from his agenda are already threatening fire and brimstone if Jega should leave. They want to bend the civil service rules to favor Jega. Jega cannot organize elections by force.
We move on to politics in Ebonyi State now. A group of women in the state have gathered to protest moves to impeach the governor, Martin Zilichi. The women began with a prayer session that lasted for over an hour, and thereafter they sought to meet with the governor at the government house.
Peace in the whole world forever.
For the second time in a week, hundreds of women from the nooks and crannies of Ebonyi State have staged a peaceful demonstration in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, against the move to impeach the state governor, Mr. Martin Zilichi, who's been accused of misappropriation of funds, gross misconduct, and embezzlement. The women began with about an hour of prayer session at the Abakaliki Township Stadium, where they prayed for peace and God's intervention in the political crisis in the state.
Jesus, mighty name, pray.
Thereafter, they moved to the entrance of the state government house, carrying placards with various inscriptions. Thereafter, they sought to meet with the governor, but he was not there. However, some government officials gave them audience. The women then used the opportunity to call on the wife of the president, Dame Patience Jonathan, to use her good office to mediate in the crisis.
We feel the pains.
However, luck fell the way of the protesters when the governor, who had been away for several days in Abuja, came back from the airport to meet with them at the entrance of the government house.
Ebonyi State is the home of democracy. Yes. You have proved that you put the government in place. Yes. And so you are protecting the government. Yes. You are own government. Yes. Nobody imposed it on you. Yes. You chose it by yourself. Yes. And so you will protect it. Yes. You will defend it. Yes. You will stand by it. Yes. Whoever opposes you is doing so at his own peril. Yes.
Meanwhile, the High Court sitting in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi state capital, gave an interlocutory injunction restraining the members of the House of Assembly from making any further move to impeach the governor. With this new development, it is expected that all the stakeholders will come together and ensure that peace reigns in the state.
When the news at 10 returns, internally displaced people from Nigeria flood camps in Chad. Our big story tonight looks at the condition of the IDPs in the neighboring country. Do join us again.